I didn't take the bets. Said we need to play Here Comes the King.
Good morning, Admiral.
Good morning.
Thank you. The June 9th, 2026 regular Planning Commission meeting is called to order. The time is 6:02 p.m. Before we begin, commissioners, please put away cell phones. If you have personal business during the meeting, please move for a recess. If you are participating telephonically, please mute your phone unless you are speaking. Also, when speaking, please state your name for those streaming the meeting. As a reminder to attendees, this meeting is being streamed live. The camera is located in the back of the council chambers above the clock. Will the planning clerk please call the roll?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. Commissioner Brown?
Here.
Commissioner Stafford?
Here.
Commissioner Langell?
Here.
Commissioner DeYoung?
Present.
Commissioner Seals, you do have a quorum with Commissioners Stafford, Brown, Langell, and DeYoung in the chambers.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Brown, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item of business is approval of the agenda. Before changes are discussed, are there conflicts of interest to declare? Hearing none, are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing no changes to the agenda will stand as presented unless objection is raised. Next item on the agenda is reports. Do we have a report from our acting city planner?
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to update you on a few items. Last night at the City Council, the ordinance serial number 2610, amending the official zoning map of the city of Wasilla to rezone lots 2 and 4 Brookwood Commercial Park subdivision from rural residential to commercial, was recommended for public hearing on June 22nd. 2 additional hearings were scheduled for that particular request on June 13th and June 27th. Resolution serial number 2633, that was opposing the Matanuska-Susitna ordinance, which would impose a 6.5 area-wide sales tax and repeal the area-wide property tax, subject to voter approval on November 3rd. Our council did make one amendment. They removed the 6.5% and opposed that. We had some wins this week. We were notified by Senator Murkowski's office that we did receive a $1.9 million appropriation for our Wasilla-Palmer Interconnect Water Project. And we also, at the City Council last night, they passed an ordinance authorizing execution and acceptance of a state revolving fund loan in the amount of $282,000 for the Legacy Septic Tank Replacement Project. So that's our first win with the state of Alaska under their revolving loan program, and we really thank the council for helping us with that. A few things just to be aware of. Our sewer master plan RFP went out. It was awarded and scored, as well as the water master plan. Those have both been scored and they're going to council for final approval. Taxiway K at the airport is in full construction mode. There are some closures on the runway, so make sure that you are fully aware of what's going on out there with all the construction. 4th of July parade, float application and sponsorships are still available. That is going to be a place to be for the 4th of July. And last night there was a presentation given about water and sewer rates. I would highly recommend that you go and watch that presentation to better understand some of the challenges we have with our current rates and some of the solutions that we can consider. And then just a reminder to sign up for the e-notification on the City of Wacilla's website to stay up to date, because the Frontiersman has closed. That means notifications are digital, so make sure you sign up for those. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have a report from our city attorney?
Thank you, Chair. Just a very quick announcement. This is Hannah Clancy. She is my colleague at Birch Wharton, and she is going to be working on a lot of municipal matters and a lot of matters for the City of Wasilla and the Planning Commission. So you'll be seeing a lot more of her, and I wanted to make sure you all were introduced. Otherwise, no other comment.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is public participation. Public participation is a time for the public to comment on any matter except agenda items that are scheduled for public legislative or quasi-judicial hearings. Members of the public who are here for the public hearing for conditional use permit CU 2602 will have opportunity to comment during the public comments portion of the hearing. We are now at persons to be heard, a time for members of the public to share their views with the Planning Commission. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken into advisement by the commission or administration. Anyone wishing to step forward may do so at this time. Welcome. Please write your name and contact information on the sign-up sheet. When you are finished, state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Could you pass it down? Ask him. They need to speak close.
Speak clearly into the microphone.
Thank you, Planning Commission, and everybody that's here. My name is Tim Johnson. I'm president of the Lakeview Condo Association. My comment is this: I believe that we citizens should have equal rights to be heard as any other citizen in front of you. In your agenda, you are giving the applicant presentation 15 minutes. Therefore, I request that every citizen be given 15 minutes as well under the equal access. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? The next agenda item is a business.
Yeah, but I don't really know what we're even really doing here. I was coming here regarding the homeless place being put on Railroad Avenue.
There's no
Condo thing is gonna be, all I knew was the meeting was supposedly like 2 weeks ago, we got some letter, and then next thing I know, I came here, nobody was here, nobody even bothered to tell us there was gonna be no meeting, and then what was it, an hour ago, somebody said, hey, by the way, it's tonight. I'm like, well, it would have been nice to got a little bit more of a heads up so we didn't look like an idiot coming here. I have nothing really to say other than we've owned that business there since 1978. The roads going into it and out of it are unbelievable.
Sorry, they're gonna wanna make sure they have your comments so that they live in posterity. So you might wanna sit down and just give them.
So I'm explaining myself first before I go and do
Haven't
it.
reached that spot on the agenda yet.
We haven't got there. That's what I'm trying to figure out what's going on, is where
This
we
is
at on
simply
this.
public participation.
For copies
This-
of the agenda. We don't have an agenda.
They should be in the back.
I didn't see anything. I grabbed all two that were there, what was there.
So we're not there yet, so if you want to
Okay,
we will
so
be.
that's all I'm saying is, we didn't get any heads up. You would assume that people in the area would have known.
This is a time for people to say something to the commission that is not on the agenda for quasi-judicial or as legislative action tonight. This has been part of our agenda for a long time. This is just a time for people to bring stuff to the commission other than what we have on the agenda tonight. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak during persons to be heard? Seeing none, we move on. The next item of business is approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the May 2026 minutes?
Commissioner Brown, I move to approve the May 26th business meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Stafford, I'll second that.
Are there any objections to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is approved. We move on to new business. We are now into new business with no items under legislative recommendations actions. We move to quasi-judicial hearings. Pursuant to resolution serial number 2604 and Wasilla Municipal Code 16.115.040, the Wasilla Planning Commission has adopted a policy allowing public oral argument and comment in a quasi-judicial hearings that are not appeals, regardless of whether written comments have been submitted by the person commenting or not. Tonight, we have a quasi-judicial hearing regarding conditional use 2602. Planning clerk, could you identify the conditional use before us for our determination today?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. This evening, we have conditional use permit 26-02. The applicant is Chelsea Smith on behalf of Alaska Corporation for Affordable Housing, who is the owner. And the request is for consideration of an affordable housing residential development consisting of up to 63 units with 1 to 3 bedroom floor plans, including some ADA compliant units. The total lot area is approximately 6.63 acres, and the location is North Star Estates lots 1 and 2. And the address for one of the parcels that has an address is 591 South McKinley Street, Wasilla, Alaska 99654, and the current zoning is commercial.
Thank you. Before we begin our hearing, do any commission members have any conflicts of interest, partiality, or ex parte communications to disclose? As chair, I have a ex parte communication to disclose. I had a conversation with Councilmember Tim Johnson about the legality of certain issues that are brought forward tonight. And I do believe at this point I still have the objectivity to render a fair and honest decision. So we move into our conditional use CU 2602 pursuant to resolution serial number 2604 and Wasilla Municipal Code 16.115.040. This commission has adopted procedures allowing public oral argument and comment during quasi-judicial hearings. Presentations will proceed in the following order today. City staff presentation, up to 15 minutes. Applicant presentation, up to 15 minutes. Public testimony, up to 5 minutes per speaker. Members of the public wishing to testify in support, opposition, or neutral comment will be recognized. Applicant rebuttal will be up to 5 minutes. Commission members may have questions during oral arguments and testimony today, but questions from commissioners do not count against the allotted presentation times.
Chair, before you delve into the hearing, In order to comply with the law when it comes to disclosure of ex parte communications, I think it needs to be a little bit more specific as to the conversation. And the reason is the record needs to contain that conversation, so as much as possible. So you said that you spoke as to the legality of certain issues. I think you just really state, and it doesn't have to be too specific, but a
A
summary.
10-page document was referenced by council member Johnson, and we had a discussion about legality, and I never looked at the document. I was just told by council member Johnson that he had information that was at least 10 pages, so of legal issues to deal with this.
Okay, so just to summarize, he told you they have legal issues and he had written 10 pages that demonstrated all of those legal issues, but the two of you didn't really get into what those legal issues
No, we
were.
did not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. With that, Acting City Planner Nygaard, do you have a presentation regarding this conditional use application?
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, we have a presentation tonight. First of all, I want to thank Chelsea and her team at Alaska Corporation of Affordable Housing for always providing all the information requested, always being available for the questions and concerns that we had, and just being really transparent about everything. So thank you very much. We have a great team that's worked on this permit application. We have Elise Blocker, who's with us. She's a credentialed planner in the state of Alaska, as well as our Deputy of Public Works, who's been working on sewer and water issues associated with this project. So I wanted to make sure, you know, this was really a team effort, and they're gonna show you how they step through this evaluation and through this process. So thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Crystal. So I'll just go ahead and go through the staff report, pointing out some specific things. So the staff recommends approval of the request with conditions of approval based on the findings of compliance with applicable criteria established in section 1695020 of the Wasilla Municipal Code. And this, in summary, the project consists of up to 63 units. Later, the plan was reduced to 59 units. And with units with 1 to 3 bedroom floor plans, including ADA compliant units, and will be located at North Star Estates Lot 1, 591 South McKinley Street, Wasilla, Alaska 99654, and North Star Estates Lot 2, Wasilla, Alaska 99654. I did want to point out there is a typo on page 1. Because the project is a multifamily development and commercial zoning, the conditional use permit was, because the zoning has since changed, or the code has since changed. The application was certified complete on Thursday, May 7th, 2026, and scheduled thereafter for a hearing on June 9th, 2026. Moving on to page 2, we're going to go through the conditional use criteria. Criteria A, the applicable code authorizes each proposed use and structure by conditional use permit in that zoning district. Staff finding, the criteria has been met. Criteria B, the proposed uses and structures are compatible with the proposed of the zoning district in which the lot is located. Staff finding, the criteria is met. I did want to point out one thing. The conditional use process allows the Planning Commission to evaluate each proposal on a case-by-case basis to determine whether residential uses can appropriately coexist with surrounding commercial and mixed-use development. Criteria C, the value of the adjoining property will not be negatively affected greater than that anticipated by any other permitted or conditionally permitted uses in this district. Staff finding that criteria is satisfied. The proposed development includes planned on-site amenities, organized circulation patterns, and proposed access improvement intended to improve all site functionality and public safety. In Exhibit A, the Public Works Department comments are on proposed right-of-way alignment, traffic calming measures, right-of-way modifications, and phase sewer calculations and site access configurations, which led to the revised site plan that was received from the applicant on April 16th, 2026. The condition of approval is to implement the implementation of any proposed safety or traffic calming measures or right-of-way modifications within the public right-of-way shall occur through a separate plating action with the Mat-Su Borough, including approval of the associated right-of-way alignment prior to construction. Moving on to criteria D, the proposal is compatible with existing uses of surrounding land. The staff finding the criteria is met. Moving to page 3, criteria E, public services and facilities are or will be prior to occupancy adequate to serve the proposed use and structure. The staff finding the criteria is satisfied. Public water service is available on the northern boundary. Power lines are located on the southern boundary. Final verification of available sewer capacity shall occur prior to occupancy and shall be coordinated and approved by the City of Wasilla Public Works Department. Included in the comments are the Public Works Department notes for the phased approach to the development based on utility capacity. Additionally, internal pedestrian facilities are provided on site to serve residents. While there are currently no sidewalks along East Susitna Avenue or South Wasilla Street connecting to North Depot Road, vehicular access to the site will be provided from East Susitna Avenue, which is classified as a minor collector and is capable of accommodating the anticipated traffic volumes associated with the proposed development. The condition approval is final verification of sewer systems capacity will occur prior to occupancy and is contingent on completion of the city's wastewater treatment facility improvements. As applicable, internal pedestrian facilities are provided on site. Moving on to condition F, considering harmony of scale, bulk coverage and density, generation of traffic, the nature and intensity of the proposed use, the other relevant effects, the proposal will not cause undue harmful effect upon desirable neighborhood character. The criteria is met. The proposed development is compatible with the surrounding areas in terms of scale, bulk, coverage, and density. I'm going to skip through some of these here just to point out some things about traffic generation. It has been evaluated using conservative assumptions. Existing traffic volumes on the adjacent minor collector roadway are approximately 1,700 vehicles per day. The proposed now 59-unit development is estimated to generate up to approximately 240 additional vehicle trips per day. Combined traffic volumes are anticipated to remain within the acceptable operating range for a minor collector roadway, which is designed to accommodate approximately 1,000 to 3,000 vehicles per day. Additionally, following a discussion with HDR Alaska, the project manager for the Wasilla Main Street Rehabilitation Project, the project is anticipated to go to bid this summer, with construction expected to begin next summer and continue through 2028, which will help address existing traffic concerns in the area. Exhibit B has the official streets and highways plan, along with the 2022 GIS map and an excerpt from the Mat-Su Borough 2022 OSHIP outlining the functional classification, annual average daily traffic limits, and also included is an average street traffic volume report from Placer AI for East Susitna Avenue and Robertson Street, covering the period of May 1, 2025 through April 30th, 2026. We are on page 4 for criteria G. The proposal will not be unduly detrimental to health, safety, or welfare of the surrounding area or the city as a whole. The criteria is satisfied. The condition for the approval is prior to the issuance of building permits, the applicant shall obtain a letter from the Central Mat-Su Department Fire Marshal indicating a certificate of approval conforming to the proposed development conforms to all applicable CMFSD adopted building, fire, and safety code. Criteria H, the proposal does or will comply with the applicable regulations and conditions specified in this title for such use. The staff finding, the criteria is satisfied. The condition here is on page 5, All development on the site shall substantially comply with the approval site plan submitted in accordance with WMC 1690-020. Any proposed modifications to the approved site plan must be submitted to the city planner for review. Minor revisions may be approved administratively, while substantial revisions may require formal amendment approval. Criteria I. The proposal is not contrary to the applicable land use goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan. Staff finding, this criteria is satisfied. The comprehensive plan encourages balances land use patterns, housing diversity, and development that supports continued community growth. Population growth and in-migration within the city and the broader Matanuska Valley continue to generate demand for additional housing opportunities, including multifamily housing. The proposed development supports these objectives by providing additional residential opportunities within the city limits and in proximity to employment services and commercial activity. The plan also emphasizes the preservation of land for commercial use within designated commercial areas, including Goal 2 and Objective 2.1, and the future land use map similarly identifies this area for commercial development. The proposed residential area is therefore not fully consistent with the plan's preferred commercial land use designation. However, the comprehensive plan does not expressly prohibit residential development within commercial areas and is intended to be applied in a broad and flexible manner in consideration of multiple community objectives. In this case, the proposal can be evaluated based on a site-specific characteristics, including its design, scale, and compatibility with surrounding areas. Moving down to the SEDS. The SEDS identifies sustained growth, population growth, in-migration, and housing affordability. Pressures within the greater Wasilla economic area specifically establishes a policy objective to increase housing development within city limits in order to support workforce needs, economic resiliency, and efficient use of existing infrastructure. The proposed development supports the efficient utilization of existing infrastructure and reinforces Wasilla's role as a regional, commercial, and residential center. Okay, so following that, in summary, the recommendations are: Recommendation 1, the applicant shall resolve all comments and concerns raised by reviewing agencies to the satisfaction of those agencies. Recommendation 2, the applicant shall obtain successful plating approval through the Matanuska-Susitna Borough for any proposed right-of-way modifications, safety, traffic calming measures, or roadway improvements prior to construction. Recommendation 3, the applicant shall submit a phased development plan demonstrating coordination with the City of Wasilla's wastewater treatment expansion project prior to occupancy. Recommendation 4, the applicant shall have successful application and approval of all required utility permits. Recommendation 5, the applicant must obtain a letter from the Central Mat-Su Fire Department Fire Marshal for certificate of approval indicating the development conforms to the current CMSFD adopted building and fire codes. Recommendation 6, the applicant shall obtain approval for all permits required for driveway construction. Recommendation 7, the applicant shall submit a complete site plan for city planner review and approval prior to construction. All development on the site shall comply with the approved site plan and application materials. Any proposed changes to the approved plan shall be submitted to the city planner for review. Minor revisions may be approved administratively by the city planner, while substantial changes shall require approval as an amendment to the conditional use permit. And that's all.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to speak on the application for conditional use permit 26-02?
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Chelsea Smith. I'm the director of the Alaska Corporation for Affordable Housing. It's my pleasure to be here this evening to speak with you all about this conditional use permit application. I'm a lifelong Alaskan. I was born and raised in Fairbanks. I'm a product of the Alaska school system, including the University of Alaska, and I'm passionate about keeping Alaskans here in Alaska. The Alaska Corporation for Affordable Housing, which I will abbreviate as ACAW moving forward, is a 501c3 nonprofit subsidiary of Alaska Housing Finance Corporation. That's a lot of words to essentially say that we are able to build housing, whereas Alaska Housing Finance Corporation cannot. Since we are a 501c3, we're able to utilize resources that are not available to Alaska Housing, including loans, grants, private funding, financing. We use all of that in partnership with local communities to bring developments like this to life. And it's our mission to continue forward AHFC's mission of providing safe, quality, affordable housing to all Alaskans. And our developments are built out of partnerships with local communities like Wasilla, and we serve based off of principles of flexibility and accessibility. And before we jump into the meat and potatoes of our conditional use permit application, I want to thank the planning department, and I want to thank the public works department and the fire department. We've had a wonderful collaboration over the last several months before we are here today. We've been having conversations for quite a while, and it's that collaboration and flexibility that is able to make developments like this possible. So we all know Wasilla is growing. On the screen, you'll see several headlines from recent publications about things that maybe other communities would have fixed if they were able to address them before their communities grew the way that they did. And one of the beautiful things is that Wasilla has a unique opportunity, and that is to address ahead of time what so many other communities have neglected, and that's keeping housing close to your thriving city center. Workers and patrons nearby allow for less traffic congestion, and by providing housing that's not cost prohibitive, it allows the residents to be able to have more disposable income. That's income that they can spend in the community, and that's income that will help produce needed sales tax revenue for the economy of Wasilla. Currently, based on the market study that we've completed prior to being here today, 40% of renter households in Wasilla pay 35% or more of their annual wages toward housing costs, and that's considered rent overburdened. But what does that look like? It looks like people who are focused on spending their money on housing and daily essentials and not necessarily the local amenities that Wasilla has to offer. They're living closer paycheck to paycheck and worrying more about those daily essentials and housing. And when the cost of housing exceeds the reach of available workers, employers can no longer recruit from the immediate area, and that reduces your effective labor pool within the city, leading to labor shortages. But what if local renters were able to pay less towards their housing costs? Where would they spend that cost savings? And the answer is in Wasilla. So what does that workforce look like? These are all positions that I pulled on an online job search yesterday that are available within Wasilla that are above minimum wage. And it looks like medical assistants and medical receptionists and physical therapy assistants, grocery store managers, even a correctional officer at the state of Alaska could qualify to live in this housing. Bank tellers, commercial drivers, these are all people that need safe, quality, affordable housing close to where they work. Minimum wage in Alaska is currently $14 an hour. That's $29,120 per year. The income limits that we have on our property for a one-person household is 2.3 times the minimum wage, or $66,850 per year. For a four-bedroom household, it's 3.2 times the minimum wage, or $95,450 per year. By bringing housing closer to the city center, it helps eliminate what could be known as the ghost town effect. So I'm not sure how many of you have heard of that before, but it's a term that's being used for communities that don't have housing near their city center. The workforce comes in, they work, and they leave. And in order to keep your economy thriving and your community centers booming, keeping people downtown after 5 is going to help those local businesses and local restaurants thrive. Now, originally, when we brought our plan to the planning department back in March, we had 63 units in mind. And it looks like what was on the screen, or what is on the screen right in front of you. And immediately, the planning department said there are existing traffic concerns. Susitna Avenue, where it meets East Depot Road, takes this fancy little S-curve, and it's causing traffic issues. So we met the city immediately where they were, and we said, absolutely, we will help fix that. Even though we knew that it would lower the number of units that we could ultimately be able to provide and serve with the community. It's this level of flexibility and collaboration that we have as an entity that a private developer would likely not be able to do. They would likely not be able or willing, frankly, to fix the road in the way that we're able to fix the road. And speaking of fixing the road, the Main Street Rehabilitation Project is coming up, which we've heard about this evening. This is a snapshot from the plan for the Main Street rehabilitation. And our 2 lots sit very close to that rehabilitation. And by fixing the road where that arrow points, it's going to meet Wasilla Street at a 4-way stop. That's necessary traffic adjustments that will help alleviate some of the concerns in the neighborhood with the traffic. So now we have this plan. This is the plan in front of you. This is the plan that we brought to the planning department back in April. And again, when we brought this plan, our modified with 59 units, we were met with the concern of an infrastructure burden. But we're here to collaborate, and we're here and we're flexible. And so we said, absolutely, we can still do what we want to bring to the community, and we can do it in phases. Let's work with you together so we can bring these units online in a phased approach that aligns with the current infrastructure that's going to be implemented. Again, a level of flexibility that would be unlikely if it was a private developer. Getting these units online quickly is how developers and companies make money. But for us, it's about the affordability aspect by providing more opportunity for residents. So this is what that phase looks like in words, essentially. We plan on bringing the units to life within 2027 and 2028 in accordance to what the infrastructure plan is with the city. Now, if plans change, as they so often do in construction, we're willing to be flexible because we're a partner in this together. The units are all duplexes and triplexes, and they offer a very similar density to the neighboring lots that contain 52 townhouse units. It's going to be a seamless continuation of community. And in lieu of developing Iliamna Street, which you'll see here right in the middle in the red dashed box, we want to bring a playground and a dog park to the community. And why we want to do that there is because Iliamna Street, while it is a right-of-way, is only serving the 2 lots that we own. By putting in a street in this area, it's more infrastructure that the city would need to maintain. And we're alleviating that burden by providing an amenity. There's ample parking for all residents on the site. Every unit will have a garage. Additional guest parking will be in the driveways, and road parking will not be permitted. Road parking is not permitted on any of our properties, and it's something that we enforce, and it's something we haven't had any issues with. The playground and the dog park are centrally located on the lot, which provides a safe place for residents to be able to bring their pets and to bring their children away from busy Susitna Avenue. Now, we're very proud of our other developments and wanted to bring you some samples of what those properties look like. So on the top row, you'll see a few photos of our development in Valdez that's getting ready to be completed. There's also a QR code and a link to the virtual tour if you get this slide deck online. But you can take a virtual tour. You can tour the entire site. You can look inside the units and see the quality that we're bringing to the community. And on the bottom, you'll see our Fairbanks development. On the left is the Meadows, which is 18 units of senior housing. And then on the right is Borealis Park, and their playground is in the middle. This development is $30 million, or at least that's what the estimated cost is right now. And time is money, so the longer it takes to bring this to life, the more expensive, it's going to get. But this is an opportunity that is once in a generation. We have over $22 million in federal funds that we are able to deploy today for this project. And we're bringing in our own money as an organization, over $4 million, and we'll also be financing a portion. And with the changes in local ordinance, we may not be able to build like this again. During the construction process, which will be about 2 years, we're going to bring local jobs to the city of Wasilla. All of the construction workers will be in Wasilla, providing to the economy. And in the long term, it's going to be able to provide the affordable workforce housing that's needed to keep the residents of Wasilla in Wasilla. All in all, this is a partnership between us at ACAW and the community of Wasilla. And our collaboration and our flexibility to meet the city where the current challenges lie while still providing much needed housing is what we're here for. It's what our mission is to provide more housing to communities across Alaska. And at the end of the day, businesses need workers, services need customers, and everyone needs safe, quality, affordable housing. I'm available for any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
What made you choose this site and when was the property purchased?
We purchased the property back in 2019. And while that predates my time with the organization, the intention was always to bring housing to these lots. And we've seen in our conversations across the state and our conversations across the country, frankly, how important it is to have housing nearby city centers for people to be close to where they work.
Questions?
So I was just gonna say, there's other lots that are probably more suitable that are in the city. So I just wondered, I mean, I wondered the same thing. I'm sorry. I wondered the same thing, why you picked this lot.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we purchased it in 2019. It was available to us. It was an opportunity for us. And ultimately, our goal is the same. But it provides a nice lot adjacent to a already existing community. It's not smack dab in the middle of a commercial area. There is residential housing nearby. And so while there are commercial elements also in the neighborhood, it brings together housing and commercial development.
Commissioner Lanchell, question to you or Public Works. You mentioned that this water and sewer easements pertain only to these parcels. Are those going to be vacated?
There was no mention of a water and sewer easement for the property. I think you're referring to Iliamna Street in the center, which was a road easement, a right-of-way easement.
I'll gladly share this with the commissioners and with you. I mean, it's the Matsu Borough's parcel map. And if this is in error, it probably should be corrected. And I don't want to take a lot of time, but it does show the easement.
I'm just gonna come up and take a look at that.
No, that's
While he's looking at that, there's no intention of us vacating any water and sewer easements.
Yeah, the only right-of-way easements are the one that goes down Iliamna Street that was hashed in the red box. that we collaboratively work together on because there is no reason to put a road there. And there is some water and sewer opportunities to put it in, and we haven't done that yet for the whole water and sewer design. But the easements are there, and I'm sure we'll work with the owners on providing extra easements if we need them. Because anywhere you put in a line, you have a 20-foot easement over the top of it.
Well, it's unclear to me, and please forgive me for taking up too much time. Are you saying that this water and sewer easements are not there, or they're going to be vacated, or
They're currently there, and we're allowing them to use them as parks and properties underneath. Just like you'll allow a fence to go on a water line easement or a sewer easement. Just like you'll allow a parking lot to be paved over the top of a water or sewer line easement. It's infrastructure on the surface, and that happens all over the city.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Are there any members of the public that have submitted written comment that are here and would like to make a presentation? If so, please approach the podium one at a time. You will have 5 minutes for your presentation. Please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes to speak.
My name is Tim Johnson. I'm president of the Lakeview Condo Association. I request that you reject this conditional use as the existing charts do not reflect a conditional use for commercial property. There was rumors that said that, well, the applicant put in the application prior to the ordinance taking in effect, and that is exactly true. There is a legal doctrine called the pending ordinance doctrine, and I will read it to you. The pending ordinance doctrine is a legal procedure that allows municipalities to deny the property use application if there is an amendment to the zoning ordinance that is currently under consideration. At the time of this application, before the city council, was the change to the ordinance. Therefore, it was already known by everybody that this ordinance change was coming. It goes on to say, even if the proposed use complies with the existing laws, which it did at the time, however, it no longer does. So I'm going to urge you under the existing law of 166005 to reject this conditional use permit. And if that isn't good enough, I've given you comments to every point that the city made, of which I object to almost all of them. You can choose if you think that 05A is not sufficient. Now, with that being said, I'm actually not opposed to this, and I think that many of the comments that were made by the affordable housing have some validity. However, the people mentioned as they want to work in partnership. Okay, let's roll up our sleeves and let's work in partnership. Let's have our NGO come out and work with the comp plan 2025 to 2045, figure out where housing should be and give it a basis for a rezone. And I think that would actually fly if it's in the comp plan. And in this particular way, the NGO, the city, can actually work together for resolving many of the other issues that were not addressed by the city. I can tell you how not to do a project as president of the Lakeview Association. It was done in almost the exact same way. A developer comes in, looks at a piece of property, buys the property and puts it in there and says, ha, this is now residential property. This is really nice. In Lakeview established condo was a prime example. We have absolutely no pedestrian access. We're a quarter of a mile from cars and I can't get there. Is this project going to change that? No. We're a half a mile from Fred Meyer. Is this project going to change that? No. We're a half a mile from both the school and the high school. Is this project going to change that? No. However, oddly enough, before the city council is a project called the Safe Streets Project. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we could take this project, marry it with an existing project to actually create a plan in the city to have affordable, easy public access through trails? If we're going to put people in the project, then we better consider people. Isn't that right? Currently, the city says, oh yes, Sitna Avenue will contain the traffic. Yeah, it will, according to some number of statistics. I live on that road. I can tell you that it does not. There's no means of walking. In the wintertime, the access to the road is through a very icy roadbed. Why? Because there's no sewer containment for the water. It just fills up in the ditches. So we're going to take this project, fill up the ditches and have the running water come even higher over Susitna Avenue, making it a complete ice patch. Is that a 5-minute warning or a 2-minute or a 3-minute warning?
20 seconds.
I've used 5 minutes. I suggest that the developer come back, work with the city as a planned unit development project. Let's work with all of the existing resources that we have. And by the way, since you gave the other people more time, I am almost ready to demand more time myself. Would you give it to me, please?
I will give you 3 more minutes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Then I will continue and I should be able to finish. The other thing that is totally missing from this particular project is how are this project going to be maintained in years down the way. We in Lakeview have pride in maintaining our project. We're over 20 years old, and if you drive through the project, you don't see trash. You see that it is well maintained. This project is a very nice place to live, other than the fact that we have no access. However, what is the plan for this project to make sure that it is maintained both in a safe manner for the people who are living there and for the residents around? No one wants another mountain view in Wasilla. Let's not make that. Let's put conditions on this project to make sure that we can have a very safe living environment for everybody. Therefore, in summary, reject this as a conditional use. NGO, come back, work with the comp plan, create a PUD with the city to address all of the issues for infrastructure that are currently lacking. One thing I forgot is there is no plans at all for streetlights in the project, and my children from the condo association wakes up at 7 in the morning and gets onto buses in dark streets. Very dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other members that have submitted written comment?
I haven't submitted written comment.
It's from the family itself, but not necessarily me.
Yeah, but didn't he submit written last time?
This is the time if you have submitted written comments. Please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes plus to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Stu Graham. I'm a resident of the city. As a matter of fact, I'm a member of the City Council. I testify before you frequently, and I always say that I'm testifying on my status as a resident, nothing to do with the city council. So this, proposal came up, or actually two proposals came up. There was two plans on there, so nobody knew what they were gonna be commenting about. And then the plan was pulled, with, little to no notice. You know, people, came wanting to testify and they were unable to testify. And so I don't think we have here tonight everybody that has an interest in this, because they used the same signs essentially to notify for this meeting that they did for the previous meeting. It looked the same, they were posted in the same place. So unless you actually got out of your car and walked 20 yards, you wouldn't know that the date had changed. But even though we've got a great crowd here, this is very nice. I don't think we have everybody here that's interested in testifying. But per our own Wasilla Municipal Code, you know, the conditional use permit, you know, can be granted, you know, for land uses and structures with special design or site requirements, you know, or perhaps those having potential adverse effect on surroundings. Now, the former plan allowed this. Allowed residential use in a commercial area. And that was changed when there was another proposal for a significant project in a commercial area. And then all of a sudden the city council realized, you know, this big change that got pushed through by the administration wasn't really vetted at that point to take a look at the comprehensive plan and how that worked. But I've got here a copy of something that you guys have a copy of. This is the comprehensive plan. This is page 90 something, 86, 98. Got to turn it right. So this is page 98 of the comprehensive plan. You know, that shows uses in districts for the different things. And the red area is the commercial area. And the red area is where the city tries to attract businesses. You know, the red area is where Home Depot is. The red area is where Lowe's is. The red area is where all that development up near Home Depot is. The red area stretches all the way over to the Native Hospital over there. The red area stretches down to the Parks Highway. This area was designated many, many years ago to be for commercial use, where we can attract people. And nothing said we're going to attract them in 2 years and 5 years and 10 years. It said this needs to be our plan. And this comes right out of, you know, if you went to college and went to a planning class, this comes right out of it. You preserve your city core for commercial development, because that is what is going to bring people in. Now, I heard HFC talk about, well, you want to put, if you just do commercial downtown, you can end up with a dead downtown. I would highly disagree with that. Yeah, if you do something like Winslow, Arizona did 75 years ago, yeah, you could end up with a dead downtown. We are a growing city. We have been a growing city for the last 20 some odd years, consistent growth, okay? And that growth is based on businesses being able to move to Wasilla to provide the services that citizens need. Yes, citizens need housing. I need housing, you know, and I need affordable housing. That doesn't mean that I need less than market rate housing, but boy, according to her chart, I would certainly qualify, but that's not where I'm at. What we need is we need housing that's appropriate. And if you look at the orange area on this chart, that's multi-use, okay? So multi-use talks about mixed use transitional. So housing developments would be appropriate there. And my God, look at how much orange there is on this map. There's a whole lot of it. And you know what? It's not in the city center. It's not in the commercial district. You know, it's appropriate. It's just outside that commercial district. So there's all sorts of land out there that's available to be taken advantage of. And I fully understand wanting to develop in a place where there are utilities and other things. That certainly makes it less expensive to develop. But you don't do it at the expense of other people. And in this case, you're doing it at the expense of the citizens of Wasilla. So even though I submitted comments, which would be this 2-page letter that I talked about, you know, I'll come back later and talk about it with my 4 seconds left. But thank you so very much for being here and listening.
Do you need additional time, sir?
If I may have just a minute or two, certainly.
I will give you 3 minutes.
Great. I appreciate that. So I did submit this typewritten 2-page response for this conditional unit case. And it, much like Mr. Johnson points out, that in almost every case in the Wasilla Municipal Code, this project does not meet the ability to have a conditional use permit. Not because the permit's not allowed, but even if it were allowed, the things that it's trying to do just don't meet those things. You know, the lots are zoned commercial. They should be revenue generating lots for the city, not revenue generating lots from the residents of that area, but revenue generating lots from the city, conditional doing things. This is a huge, large multifamily project. This is almost 7 acres right smack in the middle of a commercial district. You know, I mean, this gives an entirely different tone to developers that are coming in and looking at things and saying, you know, we've got this road, which is building in capacity and building in use, and which the city built out to provide more use there. But now we're saying, well, you know, maybe we'll let you build there, but probably we'll just give it a residential use. Mr. Johnson was exactly correct. That road is not ready to go. This project does not connect with the rest of the city, doesn't even connect, you know, with the housing development across the street, which, by the way, is a equity development. You know, the people living there have skin in the game in those houses, those condominiums there. What's being proposed here, there is no equity. It's a purely 100% rental. And according to what I just heard, and I could be wrong, but all these are going to be below market rate rentals. You know, yes, you and I may qualify to live there, but I'm betting we're not first on the list to get in. So this just doesn't, you know, this proposal should have been printed on red flags instead of white paper. There's just so much out there that doesn't meet the needs of the city nor the code of Wasilla. Thank you.
Thank you. So, are there any members of the public that have not submitted written comment that are here and would like to make a presentation? If so, please approach the podium one at a time. You will have 5 minutes for your presentation. Please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes plus.
Good evening. My name is Jeremy Collier. With my wife, we own. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, I couldn't help that.
With my wife, we own the Collier Professional Building directly across the street from the subject property. I'm an attorney. I've been a member of this community for nearly all my 42 years, except when I was attending school out of state. Speaking today to voice my opposition to this project. I spoke at a recent meeting about new growth in the specific area that came with the Palmer-Wasilla Highway extension. And we've seen that Home Depot, Bentonuta Clinic, Crema 3 Bears, Senior Taco, Basil Ginger, car washes, doctor's office, dentist's office, Midas Car Care, Massive Central School Building, hairdressers, real estate offices, and the area is continuing to grow. And it's because of this planning. In my building alone, we house a law firm, an IT networking firm, a mental health practice, and an international insurance company, and an eye care facility, ophthalmology clinic that has expanded its practice from Anchorage. And that's just in my building alone in the last 2 years. So this area is growing. This is new growth in this community. We need to encourage projects that continue to fuel that business growth. That's why this area was zoned as commercial land already. Allowing this building project to move forward would work against the current commercial plan for the area. We've all heard the mayor say that City of Wasilla is open for business. We've heard the city manager and department heads echo the same, but this is not opening the city for business. The city is expanding and planning must be purposeful. This is the time to really scrutinize what type of project we want to see here to help shape the future. So what type of project is going to aid the city's goal of proper core commercial development? Well, this was already zoned commercial for a reason. Rezoning it as a low income, high density residential is a step backwards for the development and forward thinking for our future in the city, and sets a precedent that future use can be converted away from growth. It's going to create a land use conflict in an area already developing as a professional and commercial corridor. Once high density housing is placed in the middle of that corridor, it'll become much harder to attract future medical, retail, and office investment. Commercial property along this corridor was purchased, financed, and developed under the expectation that the zoning and long-term city vision would remain commercially focused. Changing course now undermines predictability for investors and business owners and would likely discourage additional higher value commercial development that produces stronger long-term tax revenue and employment opportunities for the city in the future. Where do we want new businesses to develop? Outside the city limits? Just after the application was complete, the city passed ordinance serial number 2607, which now prohibits multifamily dwellings in the commercial zoning district. There was a reason that ordinance was passed, which recognizes incompatible traffic patterns, service demands, noise, and operational characteristics that are inconsistent with the purpose and intent of the commercial district. This applicant may technically be able to seek a variance because of their timing, but this planning commission can deny the application for the same reason the new ordinance was passed. This proposal is bad for the city. I've reviewed the written comments submitted for this permit, and not a single citizen in the 61 pages came out to support this permit. Another point, this proposed project is not safe with the incoming road expansion. 63 units with, say, 3 people average per unit would equal about 190 people living in this dense area and traversing along a major thoroughfare. It's essentially 1 block from a new CNIC that's a 4-lane highway coming into the city. This proposal is not consistent with smart growth planning principles that separate dense residential neighborhoods from heavy commercial traffic corridors whenever practical alternatives exist. High-density residential development will create increased traffic issues on nearby commercial properties and for the downtown city as a whole. Adding roughly the 150 to 200 additional people will add to the burden on the already overflowed traffic flow and risk increasing congestion and safety for all residents at a time when the surrounding road system is under pressure from business and population growth in all directions. Think this is essentially a pinch point for the entire valley. We've got CNIC, we got the highway, we've got Fishhook, and all these places seem to converge right downtown. The city's own proposal review appears to recognize a 15% anticipated increase in traffic at that location. Emergency vehicle access and pedestrian safety should be carefully considered given the concentration of traffic, nearby commercial entrances, and major roadway exposure. People living at the proposed project will experience a lower quality of life because of constant traffic noise, commercial lighting, delivery trucks, train noise, emergency sirens, and road maintenance activity. Low-income housing opportunities are a fantastic resource for the community as a whole, but this specific project is bad for the city in many ways. This is a better project for a neighborhood development. Just a mile or 2 away, these families can live in a quiet setting. I happen to hear the train and fire trucks about 20 times per day in my building. If the goal is to support, might have just another minute, thank you. If the goal is to support workforce or low-income housing, the city should prioritize locations with safer pedestrian access, neighborhood infrastructure, and proximity to schools rather than placing families directly beside a major commercial artery. They can live in a safer setting away from all the traffic. This is not a question of whether low-income housing is valuable. It absolutely is. The question is whether this is the right location. I believe this proposal places an incompatible use inside a rapidly developing commercial hub and works against the long-term economic vision for the city of Wasilla. Essentially, to me, it seems like if we were to sacrifice our dear Taco Bell in favor of a fourplex right there, it just would not make any planning sense. And that's about what this proposal seems like to me. So I'd ask the committee to vote no on this variance. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
Ready for me?
Yeah.
We did do a written, but that was from Dad, but as I said, we came here the date it was supposed to be, and he didn't even know this was going on today, so I decided I should
Got
come
5
by.
minutes.
Okay,
Don't burn
as
them
soon
up.
as I write my name, you said, and Judith Barbie is my name. So 1978 is when we built our print shop there at 590 East Railroad Avenue. I see that we didn't talk anything about the train depot. There was a big deal to move the train depot down to the area where it's now located at, and that was to make that its own little hub, and then we were gonna use that commercial area around there to bring tourists to the area and let them come. Why are we turning it to residential when that was supposed to be for the tourists? That was gonna be businesses along that area. That was their selling point to move our depot. We have all these things that we wanna do to keep our city historic like it was. That was why we've moved buildings to where they been saved. That was the reason for moving that one, is they wanted to make it to where the tourists had a way, and now we're changing it to a residential area. Condos moved in, traffic became a little bit more psycho. Home Depot Road came open, got a little bit better. People are now comprehending that they can cut through and across and up to Home Depot. The quantity numbers, not even close. You want to come drive that road? You come out, every day. It is unbelievable driving that road, trying to get out of there and into there and everything. Nobody has any common courtesy anymore to let you through. Walking through, why did we build that tunnel across the highway? There's a tunnel like you're supposed to walk to the Wasilla Lake. What?
Flooded.
I mean, how are they supposed, you gotta walk all the way from there, all the way down to Main Street to go across the highway. You can't even get across the highway because you got so many stupid people running the stoplights anyways, taking right on red, no, the road structure out there is not gonna do it. Then you've got all the people that live down, not insulting the condo people, but all these people driving 70 friggin' miles an hour on that road. I mean, you got them coming both ways, even on friggin' Main Street where there's no left-hand turn. You got morons turning up that street, not Main Street, Kinnick Goose Bay, what's the first one? Railroad Avenue. Can't take a left there anymore because they cut that off because of all the idiots on Kinnick not letting people through and backing up the highway. That happened how many years ago? So now that's cut off. We got all these people doing about 70 to 80 down that road. Those people in that four-wheel drive place, having them driving their four-wheel drives doing about 90 on the road, 70, 60, 40. Then you have that place that's selling, all the drug dealers go there and sell the catalytic converters. So you got 40 to 50 of those people per day over there. And it's just unbelievable. Yes, I've already told the cops about all this, but I mean, and now let's go into Wasilla in 1918 or so. That was about 20 to 30 feet deeper than what it was. Some intelligent person way back when backfilled all that crap from the hill up above. There's a cabin down underneath us by about 50 feet. As the ground slowly caves in on the cabin, there's now a crater there. Your guys' septic back in that area is not as great as we all think it is, and I know that because ours has been frozen since what, January, October, somewhere around there. There's a lot of problems out there that's not being put out there for whatever reason. Now, this is all on record, correct? So if something suddenly happens and now the print shop's in trouble, then here we go. Dad said be nice, but in the same aspects, come on, you guys, look at what our city is built on. That area out there is not correct. It was never done correct. It shouldn't get something bigger on it like that. Needs some serious work done on the septic areas out there. I know the water areas out there's got some problem too. I mean, what is it, 48 years we've been there? I still got a minute 90, unbelievable. There's no way it's going to be safe. I'm sure that with the dog park, that is nice because at least then we don't have the condo people bringing their dogs down to come shit in my yard and then not bother to clean it up, which condo dude, please let your guys know, quit shitting in our yard. Gets a little annoying. And there is no pathway. So you've got all these idiots driving 70, these people walking in this middle of the road, not off to the side. So then you got to swerve around them. The stop signs, no one bothers to stop at them anymore. So no, the roadway out there is a lot worse. There is a lot more traffic than what is known because of Home Depot. And the more people learn about Home Depot, that's where they're going. They don't want to deal with the other part of Kinnick. But main thing is Train Depot was supposedly moved so that we could go make a tourist area over there. That's what we were pushed on. Everybody agreed and voted on that, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago? I don't know. Could have been that long because yeah, Mom's been dead 5 years, so that tells you something. So I don't know. Time merges fast once you start getting old. But that's what it was agreed upon. That's why we said, yes, let's move the train depot. It'd been there since 1918, and then we suddenly decided to go move it down. I could be wrong there, but move it down there, and that was the reasoning, is to let's make a tourist attraction. It's kind of like its own little cruise ship area. So bye. See you later.
Thank you.
Had let me know ahead of time, I would have had a much better thing all spent out. But the fact that I found out an hour ahead of time,
Thank you.
that's what you're stuck with. I wasn't being mean.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak?
Yeah, especially go after me.
Thank you. Please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes plus. Okay.
My name is Lee Mitchell. I'm a property owner. I'm right there at the site of the development. I know they tried to push this through a few years ago, and I guess the city said they wanted it to be commercial, then they rented it to Peak Automotive for the last 3 years, I think is what it was, and then now Peak Automotive moves out, and then here we are. So I just can't believe we're in the situation where the city is looking at losing 7 acres of extremely high valuable tax revenue that's going to go away with low-income housing. There's not gonna be any taxes collected by the borough, and of course, because 501c3, and of course, you guys aren't gonna be able to collect anything because there's no sales of any kind. So that's a huge loss for the city in that. I wanted to say I also agree with people that have spoken before me, Councilman Johnson and the attorney and everyone else. So another question I had was, who's gonna pay for the water and the sewer expansion? Is that the city? Is that part of the $30 million or is that extra? And how did they get that? Because if I was to go in there as a private developer, they'd say, Lee Mitchell, you get to pay for the expansion of this. Who's paying for it to get it to there? Are they going to out of the $30 million? That's a question for them. Another one is it's massively competing with private sector. I don't know, and I hope they can answer some of these questions for me, but what's the rent on a 1-bedroom gonna be to somebody? What's the rent on a 2-bedroom? What's the rent on a 3-bedroom? I have rental properties in Wasilla. Most are commercial, but I do have a few small residentials. Now we're talking major government money of $30 million against my little paltry few $100,000. And now I'm in competition with literally people right next door and trying to rent something that I can't drop the price unless I go to a 501c3 or whatever the case is, which isn't gonna happen. Pay myself a large salary, I guess, on the backside. I don't know how that's gonna happen. So the Matanuska-Susitna road work, I thought that was mentioned by the lady in the purple sweatshirt there, or sweater. She said that the Matanuska-Susitna was gonna help with the development of the road. The borough doesn't help with anything. So where's that coming from? And maybe I've missed something there, but I don't know who's gonna do that with the borough. You said something about helping as far as.
Nothing to do with it.
The borough has nothing to do with it. So right now the water drains down the side of Susitna and onto McKinley Street, which is where my buildings are that I own. And they dug a big ditch there to help try to collect it. But I got a picture with a foot of water on it last year when we had a reasonable snow, not this year. It was a lot less, or the year before actually. So I can see just massive problems because there's no drainage plan whatsoever. It dumps on McKinley Street. That's the drainage plan right now. So, and out of the, percentage units, what percentage of the 59 units are going to be rented to people below $14 an hour and or no money, and they move in there for free? They talk about 66,000 being the 1-bedroom, or one single owner can make up to $66,000 and pay not 30 or 45% or 30 or 40% of their income for rent. Well, they'll have all this extra discretionary income, and that's a neat idea, but what's it gonna go to? Are they gonna walk around to Wasilla? They're gonna cross the railroad tracks, cross the ditch, and cross 4-lane road, like people have already spoken of that situation? That's not gonna happen. So, and then the last point that she made was, look, it's gonna bring in $22 million at least, or $30 million for construction. Well, right now you can't get a tradesman to save your life because they're all busy, they're all making plenty of money, and so it doesn't really matter. We already have the workforce going. We've got lots of construction going on in this valley and a lot of housing being done, as we already know. And most houses that are built are sold pretty quickly. I'm also a real estate broker here in the valley and have been for years, and so pretty familiar with numbers and how things are going. So those would be the questions that I would have. I'm just curious on how am I going to be competing against rent, and how many of them are going to low income where there's no money to extra spend. We just have low income in the dead center of the city. And I agree with Johnson when he said, are we going to turn the city center of Wasilla into Mountain View? That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes plus to speak.
I won't need plus. Now I can't remember my address. Well, my phone number. My name's Diane Carlo Hokema. I currently live in the Southside Estates and serve on the board. I'm here as a resident, and as a resident who grew up in Spenard, Alaska, and I remember the serious detriment there was when multiple housing units, apartment buildings, 30 plexes on 2 lots, were put in. Our neighborhood completely changed. The road completely changed. The friendliness completely changed. Our condo association isn't the most, we don't have big block parties, but we're kind to each other. And some of us are closer friends than others. And I totally agree that it's going to cause all kinds of road problems, traffic problems, because I love that they opened up Roberts, Depot Road and Roberts, because it's easier than trying to get out on KGB. However, the people do use that as a runway. They turn left on Susitna and they race down to Susitna, right up to our playground where the kids are. They miss the corner, they go around the complex, then they turn right and go up Roberts. And it is a freeway. I mean, these people, they never stop to see neighbors. They never stop at businesses. They just use it as a shortcut. And it really has affected the peace and quiet of our complex. The other thing is, if there was a business there, I don't care what business it was, if it was a welding business, which I know is a notoriously noisy business, it's opening time to closing time. The evenings, the nights would be quiet. If you put multi-unit housing in there, there's no, especially low income or reduced income, there is no quiet going to be there. It's not going to be a peaceful neighborhood. And I just totally oppose any residential additions. I mean, I moved in there 10 years ago and it was there. I didn't have any say over the condo. It just happens to be where I found a place to live when I moved from Soldotna. But it's going to totally change our neighborhood if you do that. And I'd much rather see, like these guys were saying, tax revenue and the limited time of use that a business affords a neighborhood. You can't have a curfew and say, you can't drive your loud Dodge truck down my road after 9 p.m. because I just don't like it. In a business, you're not going to have any. I mean, you're going to start at a time, you're going to stop at a time, and that's going to be it. In a residential residential use in a commercial zoned area, I don't agree with that at all anyway, but it really, really will change our peaceful life that we have there. It's not our fault that they built the condos there. We bought our condos there. We didn't know, nobody wanted them there, but it's a nice place, and it will not be a nice place if there's 63 or 59 or whatever else more units in that area. And so that's my protest. I do not want this venture completed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me see if I can remember my address now.
Am I allowed to ask her a question? So I have a question. Well, actually, I have
Okay.
a question for everybody.
Turn on your mic.
Oh, so if this project, I'm just thinking, was senior citizen, 55 plus, would you guys have as much opposition to it? I'm just curious.
Yes.
You still would?
Yes.
Because most of them don't drive. Most of
Well,
them,
that's not true.
keep their area clean.
Excuse me, I'm 73.
I understand.
drive.
I happen to manage a 55 unit senior citizen, and most of them do not drive. I know from experience.
My
So
dad drove
I'm
till he
just
was
curious
92.
if you would oppose this if it were 55 plus.
If there were that many units, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm just curious.
If there was a 10 unit or 15 units. I don't know if it was 55. I don't know if I would object to 10 or 15 units, but nobody's going to build 10 or 15 units on that property.
Exactly. It was just I was just curious, you know, if you guys would have as big of an objection for
Well, first of
seniors,
all,
because like actually they're way more respectful, trust me.
yes, they are. They are. We are. Most of us are. I mean, there are some people younger, but there's a lot of us that are over 55 that live there. And we don't go speeding around our thing if we miss the corner, you know. I mean, it doesn't happen. But if there was 10 or 15, I probably wouldn't object. I'm sorry, 59 that's a lot of cars. That's a lot of people. That may be a lot of kids, and it's just
I
not
asked you the question, would you
Yeah,
have a
see?
problem?
I would, but not as much if it was only 10 or 15. They're not going to go that low for their money.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak?
And I did provide written commentary as well.
You're late.
I'm here. It's all good. All good.
Please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes plus.
Okay, my name is Jackie Fisick, and I live in the commercial building that is just behind the depot. So I'm literally 3 commercial lots away from this, and I was not notified. We were not notified. We were told it was notified within 500 feet, but it absolutely affects us. When we come out of Horvath Drive, right behind where the
Speak into this.
I apologize. I apologize. So we live and have a commercial building right behind the railroad depot. So we see what happens. We see the traffic. We see the skid marks. We hear the traffic that the gal before me was talking about. If you drive down any time of the day, but mostly between 4:30 and 6:30 at night, or when the school buses go, and you drive down by Home Depot and you try to get out on KGB and Palmer Wessel Extension, you're waiting. And it's constant. There's accidents. I would rather have the police officers come here and speak to you about how many accidents there are right there. The only pedestrian crossing that we have is on one side of the street, and that's when you go down the hill, there is a pathway. It's lovely, but there's a pathway there, and then there's that slow turn to the right. So everybody's looking because the road goes this way and it sweeps. So you're looking this way and you're driving and you can't see the pedestrian right here. I have no idea how many times I've seen pedestrians almost get whacked. You cannot cross the street on the other side. There's no crossing there. You have to cross where it's most dangerous. That pedestrian tunnel, we walk all over the place all the time. That's been closed for the 6 years we've been there. It's dangerous. There's needles, there's floating water, there's floating tires, there's transients, there's all kinds of undesirable things down there. It's not what it was told to me. I've been here since '82. I also was a police officer here in Wasilla years ago. I was a police officer in Palmer. So my take on this is the safety of everything first and foremost. It is not safe. People fly down that road. If you want to sit up and watch from our place, come on over. Absolutely not a problem with that. We have snacks and everything. Not a problem. But first and foremost is pedestrian safety, people safety, the amount of people, the amount of traffic. It's not, and I apologize, it's not 240 cars, because I know the business that we have, we go back and forth, and we've got several different folks in our office, but we go back and forth all the time. So there's not just 400 or 240 traffics, because I know I'm probably 10 a day at least, myself going back and forth. But aside from the sidewalks and the no passing, no traffic, no crosswalks for people, the commercial district should be commercial. We have a living in helping people get homes. I am absolutely not opposed to that. But having that many concentrated people in a commercial area where the city could actually make money and could get taxes, as opposed to, nope, now we have to spend the resources on the police officers. Because, and I'm not saying anything about low income or anything like that, when you have a density of people, you're going to have way more people in the area that need medical, need fire, need ambulance, need police officers. So all that resource for our little city of Wasilla is gonna be spent with the higher density populations. So whether it's this place or a different one, it's the same thing. You're going to have more of that. So it's gonna take away resources for the city to reroute over there. And I know the city of Wasilla, the money that we have, also the hundred thousands of people that pass through the roads, our little city police officers have to deal with all those traffic accidents. I have a scanner because I have the police officer in my system. I have a scanner. I listen to it. We hear the sirens. We have a little bingo card at our office. When all the stuff goes by, we can see it. We know what's going on. We hear that, oh no, someone has to come from Palmer to help cover the ambulance service. So they're already stretched right now. So please read what I've written before, because this is just the off-the-cuff version of it, but I am absolutely opposed to this in this area. Not as a whole, but in this area, yes, I'd rather keep it for the city, for commercial, for revenue, to keep it a commercial build Wasilla. And I'm open to questions too, if anyone has any.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Welcome. Please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes plus to speak.
Hello, my name is Scott Sand. I'm a resident of Wasilla and own property in the adjacent area and multiple other commercial lots in Wasilla to provide revenue for the city of Wasilla. I purchased property in this area about 3-4 years ago, revamped it, rebuilt it, beautified it, spent lots of money in this area, knowing that this was going to be a commercial area for a long time. For proper future expansion, or just in my own, what we built and bought and beautified in this area. Like other people have said, there's lots of roads in here that are not suitable for drainage. I own the lot that's the lowest lot in this whole area, and I get flooded every single year. I've been working with the city of Wasilla to try to fix some drainage, even the new road that they're gonna put through to cut off railroad there at Talkeetna. There's still gonna be drainage coming down from this project. It drains right now from the upper Susitna through where the school district building was, right onto my property, and it floods every year, multiple times. I have pumps out there running 24 hours a day during breakup and high rain, because the city does not have drainage in this area, and it doesn't work. I've talked with future project planners that are working on the new road. They are gonna try to change some of the drainage in there, but they pretty much told me it's not gonna fix anything, what's going on there. So this project adding even more to it is not gonna help. I have an acre of property down there of paved property that will probably be the perfect place for all these kids to play. And they'll be crossing roads that there is no walkway to. Like other people have said, the culvert underneath the road is not open. People cannot get from one side of the road. This is a commercial side. There should not be housing in this kind of area put in new. I have quite a bit of other stuff here. Let's see. It's not in the city's best interest as required due to the potential loss of tax revenue throughout the elimination of over 6 acres of commercial land, zone commercial, not to mention that the Matsu Borough will probably get involved for that road. That road that they want to vacate could possibly go through later on to get up to the 65 acres that's up above on the Palm Wasilla Highway. You know, that's gonna need ins and outs for that project eventually one of these days. When that goes through, there'll be more area that they can break up, break that down, get more buildings and more people coming through. The commercial district was intended to protect areas of existing commercial development and to provide areas for the continuous growth of commercial enterprise. The uses of this zone are originally towards the serving one commercial needs of the residents of the city and the surrounding area. This proposal does not follow the intent or purpose of the zoning district. No commercial enterprise growth will occur with this proposed use. It does not serve the commercial needs of the residents in the city and the surrounding area. The residents already in the area and the city as a whole would benefit from this land staying for commercial use, where they could have services or goods available to them, jobs created in businesses which would have served their commercial needs and provide tax revenue to the city, which benefit all. This housing project will not bring in any taxes. Multiple buildings that I've purchased and put residents in commercial use, they pay the city taxes by the people that come and buy stuff and use their area. So that helps the city out quite a bit. I encourage development opportunities that support the city's role as a regional commercial center, provide essential services and facilities necessary to encourage new commercial, industrial, and manufacturing developments. The lot this size could be used for manufacturing type uses. There's not a whole lot of lots this size in a commercial zoning area. If this was two separate lots like it is now, it could be purchased and built on feasible to the expense of the new owner instead of a housing complex.
You have 3 more minutes, sir.
Thank you, I'm good.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes plus to speak.
Good evening, commissioners, community leaders, and fellow residents. My name is Ligia Luton, and I'm here this evening representing the financial partner supporting this workforce housing development. And I'm going to make a couple of comments here. You know, we've learned a lot about low-income housing or not turning into Mountain View. And I'm not here to invalidate any of the concerns of the community. Those are valid concerns as far as traffic and a new development. But I'm here to speak as experience in development and obviously the character of the developer. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I have the role of Senior Vice President, Corporate Lending Manager with First National Bank Alaska. We have financed a lot of housing projects and a lot of commercial projects. And I bring 24 years of lending experience in housing development. So I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about the developer specifically. As a lender, our responsibility extends far beyond simply providing financing. Before we commit capital to any project, we conduct extensive due diligence, as it was presented, to evaluate the developer experience, financial capacity, track record, and ability to successfully deliver their commitments. We heard a lot about just, you know, where the money are coming from and what's supporting this project. And Ms. Smith will basically rebuttal this, but it is coming from the developer. There's a lot of ordinances that basically allow developers like ACA and affordable housing to provide this type of development that fits a completely different clientele than what the private development does. So you have workforce development, and you have private development, they're completely different. This literally fits into a segment of the market then neither the private developer or somebody coming from outside can actually fill in, which is why corporations like Alaska Affordable Housing, it's basically able to do so. They bring decades of experience developing and preserving and managing hundreds of housing projects. You had featured a couple of developments in Fairbanks and Valdez, and we were part of that. And there were a lot of concerns when these developments went into Fairbanks, and it's a very thriving project. There are 58 units. It was a scattered site. And there were actually waiting lists for individuals to get into these projects. The same thing with Valdez. You have 20 units in Valdez that we finance, and you have, it's a very successful project. The reputation is built basically on providing this type of housing that fits that segment. We have, from our perspective as lenders, basically what's compelling aspects of this project is basically the genuine need for housing. We're talking about 59 units, and it is. There's a lot of debate as far as this being commercial and this being residential. If you have a commercial site and we're talking about traffic, I've heard a lot here talking about traffic. The traffic would be the same if you have a commercial unit or a commercial business. I mean, if you're looking through people parking in front of, Back Bed and Beyond, or going through Keynes, or there's a lot of traffic that goes by. So it is a concern. And like I said, I'm not here to invalidate any of the concerns of the community, but basically, when you're looking in comparison to commercial or residential, would you have the same issues if you have a commercial or commercial buildings on this area versus residential? This development represents a meaningful investment in Wassilla's future. Ms. Smith talked about the ability of using workforce from within Wasilla, that's subcontractors, there's framers, the roofers, there, everybody that comes in and basically puts these projects together. I've also heard about, the percentage of medium income that goes into this. Will there be units that are given to homeless individuals or unhoused, or folks that have no income? Those are 80%. This is not, there's a difference between low-income housing and workforce development. So I just want to make basically the difference on that. It's not the same. So our participations as community bank and invested into Alaska and actually providing housing for Alaskans, I mean, we have confidence in ACA, as I mentioned, their character, their experience managing hundreds of units in basically successfully deliver this development, but also positively impacting the project. And once again, with the collaboration of the citizens of Wasilla, or your definitely decision. I mean, we're not here to bring any other light into it, that the fact that we believe that a housing project is needed here. We have market demands that basically show that. We have a lot of due diligence that basically it's been read right before this testimony. So when we look at all of that in combination with everything that was presented, housing is needed in Wasilla. I do understand there are other sites available, and the citizens are not opposed to housing, but definitely in a completely different location. And once again, I mentioned this 4 times now. This is not to invalidate any of these concerns. This is basically stating the fact that we are in need of housing, workforce development housing. So I appreciate you listening, and thank you. Are there any questions? Yes.
Are you a resident within the city boundaries?
No, I don't live within the city boundaries, so.
Okay, thank you.
Associated with the applicant, her comments shouldn't count.
She's a citizen.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry.
do the bank use the research done by the developer, or do the bank do their own research?
We do our own research. We do our own due diligence. We get our own appraisals, our own market studies. We look at our own, basically, it's not, we get provided by the developer cost budgets and the financial statement of it, but we do our own due diligence. Yes. Of course.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Hello, please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record, and you will have 5 minutes plus to speak.
Okay, my name's Rebecca Rice, and I'm just, I have some questions because I do work, I am a housing coordinator for workforce development. And when we're talking about that, right, like we are talking about, I make sure that they're home by 11:30 every night. I make sure that they stay sober. I provide randoms. I provide all their housing supplies, anywhere from paper to, like, where is the program that they're talking about? Because I hear low income, which I have been a part of at one point in my life. I have 5 kids. But then let's ask the question of, if this is a workforce development, where's the program? What does it look like? And as a community, like, let's be invested if this is what we're talking about. But I think it goes back to the first gentleman's statement of like, or maybe it's another gentleman, but let's bring this back together and like have the community involved in this plan, if that's what's really like being proposed here. You know, we really have to like think about all the aspects that come with low income, i.e. the comments of Mountain View. I live there. I've been a single mother with healthcare issues, coming from a homeless shelter, right? And my vehicle shot up, and you know, you name it, the issues that abound in an area like that. And I also live in this area, so therefore I know what it's like, and I know that there are issues in everyday living. And if you are to put that kind of infrastructure, already we can't get out on the streets. Already we can't. You know, there's noise nonstop. There's trains. There's all kinds of stuff, and I just really think that we need to like come back to the table, all of us, not just certain individuals, and we need to like work on this, or maybe look for a different place. That might be a better idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Welcome. Please write your name and contact information on the testimony sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes plus to speak.
I'm going to be very short here. My name is Larry Fisick, and my wife and I live in an apartment in our commercial building on top of the hill, right above the depot. And there's not much that I can say that I feel hasn't already been said yet. And I've been trying to see what really would make sense. Like, what could I add to this? Because if I don't get up here and say something, my wife is gonna talk to me later, so. Living there, I believe that we have a safety issue that really needs to be looked at. We like to go for a walk, and I think the plan was to have this built out by 2027, which isn't that far away.
if everything goes right. So is the infrastructure gonna be built out by the time that the units are built out? It's a density issue. And we're talking about commercial versus residential. And when you put that much density on 7 acres compared to how much space a commercial takes up, and our building is on an acre lot, and we've got our business and a few others in the same building, and there's a handful of cars in that acre lot. There's like maybe 5 or 6 cars in the parking lot on a daily basis, and then we'll have 1 or 2 clients from the businesses show up during the day. So I have to believe that most of the situations with the businesses, I heard a comment that the density, the traffic compared to residential and commercial is not an issue. And I believe it is. I think it's going to increase the traffic, and it's not safe right now. I'm afraid to go for a walk sometimes because walking down the hill, there isn't a safe place to do it. Now we talk about driving, right? I understand that, there'd be a plan to improve access compared to what it is right now, but I'm glad that I don't leave the office or the place some days, because when I go out, it's like, how do I get out? I tried to get a sandwich today, and it took me an hour to go downtown Wasilla, have a sandwich, and go back up the hill because of all the traffic and what we had to wait for just to get through the lights. It was unbelievable. When we try to leave the depot road, we're stuck there waiting. There's cars lined up all the way to KGB just trying to get through the light down at the Parks Highway. Now, I think that we have a housing issue. I'm a real estate broker. We believe in helping people find homes. I mean, it's so important. And what the organization does, I think they're doing what it's about is awesome, but I think it's the wrong place. It's the wrong location. That lot, that commercial lot, from a real estate perspective, that's a valuable lot, that commercial property. And we have to look at the fact that it's a very finite thing that we have as a community. Now, living in Wasilla, I've always felt like it could have, years ago, it could have been thought out better, because it doesn't seem like we have the downtown area that like we do when I go down to Palmer. I go to Palmer and you kind of feel that downtown vibe. And I really hope that someday we can make more of what we have and not change or change the vibe to more of that. But there's very limited place to do that. That's a special little spot, this corner. I think I heard the comment that it's a pinch point, and it really is. 20 years from now, if we look back at this area, how it's going to get developed out, what is it going to look like with the amount of businesses and traffic and our community if it changes with respects to putting more of a residential area? We're going to lose that ability to have that vibe that I think the community needs. So one question that I had that I'd like to know a little bit more about was the Valdez and Fairbanks. Can I have a couple more minutes? Just questions here. The Valdez and the Fairbanks projects. When they were set up, did those projects have a safe place for the community to get out and walk, and what did that look like when you're adding density to the community? Or was it a similar situation where you couldn't walk to town? In a lot of places, that downtown area, just that downtown area really has the ability to get around, and you don't over there. So in closing, I guess, I think that it's a great project. It's just in the wrong location. And if the value of that land could just be moved somewhere else, it would make more sense than where it is. One more thing I want to say, I think you would be doing the residents of that area a favor, because I live there, and the sound from the train and the sound from the sirens drives me absolutely crazy sometimes. And it would be be something to think about when we're talking about a project and where to put it. Unless you're actually there, there's a quieter, better place, I think. So, thank you.
Listen to the train.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? All right, with no one else wishing to speak, the applicant now has 5 minutes plus, but I think it might take you a little more than
That's a lot of questions.
5 minutes.
I'll try my
plus.
best.
You have a lot of,
You have 8 minutes.
you have a lot of statements from the public to work around.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Again, for the record, my name is Chelsea Smith. I'm the director of the Alaska Corporation for Affordable Housing. I have heard and appreciate all of the comments and the public testimony that we've heard this evening, and I agree. The traffic right now is a little crazy in that corner. Posting the public notices on that property, I experienced it. And so that is why we're working with the city to be able to address the way that road currently is, so people are not able to speed through and they will have to stop at a 4-way stop at Wasilla Street. And on top of that, what you haven't heard this evening is all of the stories from the people who do not live within the 500-foot radius and did not receive public notice that approached me when I was posting the public notices on the property saying, I need a place to live, or I want my son to move here from Houston and we've been looking for a rental and we can't find one that he can afford. Or when I was at a previous city council meeting, someone sitting in the section stated that they were looking for a rental for their daughter. Those are the stories that we haven't heard this evening, and we won't hear them because they didn't get a public notice to be here. But to speak to the questions that some of them have brought forward, I want to talk a little bit about skin in the game. We award the final design and construction and property management of the property competitively. And as an organization, we're actively involved in all of our developments from conception all the way through operation. We've been working on developing the plan for this project since last year, and we're not going anywhere. And we maintain a quality work product because we're going to own the property in perpetuity. It's our goal to make sure that it's safe, quality, and affordable. As far as speaking to what the rent amount is going to be, we are going to match the payment standard of Alaska Housing Finance Corporation. We're able to do that because we are a nonprofit. We just need to be able to make sure that we have enough money to pay for operations and continued maintenance. We're not here to make money off of these renters. And to also speak to accessibility. I heard about hearing if there were seniors there. We anticipate seniors are likely going to live there. All of our 1-bedroom units will be accessible. So that plays to anyone who needs a 1-bedroom unit. It also plays to anyone who maybe is a senior or has disabilities that would require them to have that additional accessibility feature. Regarding a planned unit development or going through a rezone, a conditional use permit is an appropriate mechanism for this type of development. We've successfully used this same conditional use process in other properties. And most recently, our property in Valdez, we went through the same process. We did a conditional use permit to be able to bring 20 units to the community of Valdez. Requiring this project to go through a rezone or a planned unit development process is an additional layer of red tape that costs time and money. And those are two things in short supply within our current housing landscape. And ultimately, at the end of the day, our development wouldn't change. And so we're just spending time and money that could be affordable units in the community that are actively being rented. And as far as finding another suitable location, when the workforce pays more than 35% of their income towards housing, they're likely to seek higher paying jobs elsewhere. And earlier this year, I heard anecdotally that Wasilla's largest export was its workforce. And keeping affordable housing in the city keeps that workforce living, working, and enjoying the amenities that the city has to offer, which boosts the economy and the sales tax revenue. And with that, again, I just want to thank the Planning Commission. I want to thank the Planning Department and everyone that we've collaborated with along the way. And I appreciate your consideration for our conditional use permit application.
Thank you. Any questions?
I do have a question, please. Chairman or Commissioner Langill, you mentioned that you stay with the project. Is this project considered self-sufficient financially?
Yes.
If your group loses your federal funding, it's still going to be there and taken care of?
There will be no additional federal funding going into the operations of this property, no.
Okay. And then you mentioned that by building this, people will be able to rent because the rent is lower and they can make more money. If they make more money, aren't they going to move?
They wouldn't be making any more money. They would simply have more disposable income. The amount of income that they're making from their job would be the same. The amount they're spending towards their housing, their overall housing burden would lessen, meaning that they have more disposable income to spend within the economy.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Commissioner DeYoung, what is the difference between workforce and low income?
Workforce and low income. Great question. Everybody has a capital A affordable. And so with affordable in our name, a lot of times we get pigeonholed into what a low income property looks like, which is usually the ones that are at or below 60% area median income. It's approximately a $19,000 annual difference in annual income for the resident. Did that answer your question?
Kind of, but this project would still take Alaska housing vouchers.
Absolutely. We'll rent to anybody 80% or lower.
Okay.
I have a couple questions. You mentioned some CUPs were done for this very purpose. Were there any within the city of Wasilla?
No, sir. This is our first development in the community of Wasilla. We've previously developed in Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Valdez.
Thank you. And those locations in that other area, were they in commercial districts?
Yes, our Valdez property was also in a commercial district.
Okay, my next question is, FNBA makes money. So they are an investor in this project, but they are going to be making money. They are not a nonprofit entity.
Correct.
Was there a question?
Yeah, so it was presented that this is a nonprofit workforce thing. The one lady brought up an excellent point for workforce development. There are workforce development properties that do have plans for the residents for workforce development. So to me, I think adding workforce development to this project is kind of a little outside.
There's no additional services attached to this property. I think we're getting confused with workforce development services that help residents get into the workforce. Ultimately, this housing is for people who are already in the workforce. Now, that's not precluding if anyone was a part of a workforce development program that wanted to live there. However, it's not a requirement. It's not an additional service. It's not the sole reason for this housing. It's ultimately serving a larger population than your conventional low-income housing. The affordable landscape has changed.
Thank you. I one further comment, possibly a question. After listening to the testimony tonight, I have a hard time finding harmony anywhere in this. And I've listened to what the planner has come up with, and I've listened to you, and I've listened to all these people, and harmony is nowhere in the picture. So I'm trying to find out, I'm trying to figure for myself where the harmony lies here. In the residents that already own this own the property in the area versus what is you're proposing. So how would you define harmony in this situation?
You know, I think harmony is when we can all understand that there is a greater need and that we're in an affordable housing crisis within the state, within the country, and it's been a priority across the board politically. And ultimately, what we bring to the table is an opportunity, and I'll leave it to the City of Wasilla and the Planning Commission to make the determination if this is the direction that you all would like to go.
Thank you.
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
So this is the direction all of us would like to go. If you were presented with a different piece of property, maybe with the water and sewer that obviously you want, would you be willing to trade? Would you be willing to move your project somewhere else?
Conversations are always on the table for
Okay.
us. Absolutely. But I will warn you that the federal funding may not be available at that time. The money that we have to be able to develop this property is not necessarily money that we're going to have tomorrow or next week or next month. It is slated for this particular development.
That particular address?
This particular property, yes.
Okay.
Why is it only that address?
It is only that address because that is the address that we've applied with HUD. And to get into the particulars, our organization has a partnership with the Alaska Corporation with the Alaska Housing Finance Corporation rather. And we are a part of an activity that allows the moving to work reserves for Alaska Housing Finance Corporation to be slated towards development with our organization. And we get all of that approved through HUD. And this has already gone through the due diligence before we're able to get that funding. If we switch projects, it means that we have to switch all of the rest of the due diligence that goes along with that.
That doesn't mean they wouldn't change it for you.
It's government, keep that in mind.
Yeah, I know that, but it's also grants and what they want.
Chair?
there.
We have comments from.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Go there, Gunnar.
Oh, did you have a question?
So I understand that you're bound by funding requirements and grants. So can you expand a little bit on what that means for the type of housing applicants that you would receive and what that maintenance would look like and any other thing that you would be bound by?
Yeah, absolutely. The only binding factor we have at this point is the federal funding, which only allows for residents that make at or below 80% area median income, which is the income limits that were in the presentation. As far as maintenance, that's all handled based off of the revenue dollars that come in from the rental units. So the rental units themselves are self-sufficient. There's no additional federal funding that would go in other than any approved voucher residents. And so we would have to do regular, what's called Inspire inspections, which speak to the quality of the units. They're federally required. We would complete all of those for the federal funding and also on a maintenance perspective. Again, keeping that skin in the game where we're an active owner.
Thank you. Any other questions for
Chair?
the applicant?
Is it possible for the administration to address some of the concerns and questions that came up from the audience?
Definitely.
Okay, we'll start with planning.
Hey, thank you. So first, I just wanted to clarify that this is not a rezone. This is a conditional use that was allowed in the commercial zone. As far as the Matsu Borough replat for the traffic mitigation, that would have to go through the Matsu Borough. It is in partnership, I guess, with Affordable Housing and the City of Wasilla. And adding that four-way stop would reduce the traffic speeds. Adding the residential will additionally slow traffic. And then in addition to that, they have the DOT Main Street project. So to address the drainage, there is existing drainage along the north side of the property. And if you look at page 32 of the packet, there are 3 new detention swales for additional drainage as well. And as far as walkability, I did pull a walk score for pedestrian facilities. And unfortunately, in the urbanized area of Wasilla and Palmer, or in general, like it's not very walkable. So in this area, the walk score is 47, which is largely car dependent, but I did pull similar properties such as 290 East Herning, which is this property. I pulled Walmart, I pulled Fred Meyer as well. And honestly, Walmart was the worst at 28. So just to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at for pedestrian facilities and how long it takes for someone to walk to a specific location, just to give you guys an idea of that. And let's see what else we got. I did pull up a comparison for PUDs, and here we go. So I reviewed the code for PUDs, and one of the things specifically is that at least 60% of the uses must be permitted outright or conditionally allowed, allowing up to 40% to fall outside of standard zoning allowances. So a PUD would actually allow more flexibility in the zoning, which we don't need. It's not necessary. And in addition to that, because we're talking about right-of-way realignment and sewer, we are bound, if we did a PUD, to have the construction start within 2 years, which is outside of the applicant's control. And I will leave this over to Public Works to talk about sewer.
Thank you. Both water and sewer are on property, and all piping would be put in by the owners. We inspect all that to make sure it's done right. We did have conversations about pedestrians. Councilmember Johnson and Graham, we've talked about putting a bike path in there for years to the train depot, and that is in the works. If you guys keep throwing a little bit more money in the budget for paving, that'll happen. And the new two-way couplet project that will be going down Talkeetna Street that will be closer to walk with a new signalized intersection for pedestrians to cross to go to cars so they don't have to run across the railroad tracks would be the preferred method of crossing and walking in this area for the new development. So that's pedestrian, traffic, and water and sewer.
Chair, I just want to add, because this administration is really focused on economic development, we've tried to attract the commercial activity because we live on 2.5% sales tax. We do not get any property tax. That's something that Wasilla has prided themselves on for a long time. So, you know, that is a decision that was made a long time ago. But economic development cannot work if we don't have a place for people to live. And also, some of the infrastructure associated with pedestrian is a big concern. We have other businesses that are going in across the Parks Highway that are counseling services, and the pedestrians don't have any way really safely to get to those businesses. Now, one of the things that changed in the last census is there are parts of Wasilla that is now considered urban, and we are not rural. And with that designation comes these extra funds associated with pedestrian safety and things that you have all addressed. That was never an option prior to the census that came out. And with that, we have joined with the Mat-Su Borough in some ways that we can capitalize on getting the lights and getting the sidewalks. Where we need your help is we are updating this. The comp plan is something the state requires communities to do. That is a 20-year plan on land use, and it is going to dictate this dense housing that is part of this urban designation. And if we don't get this input, we are going to continue to have conditional use permits dictate our future. So you all need to go to the city of Wasilla, to the planning department, and you need to get those surveys done because we need this kind of input. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I rise to a point of order, if I may. The agenda specifically stated that the applicant or that the staff would make their report. Then there would be, concerned folks would make theirs, the staff would make theirs. There is nowhere in the agenda that said that the staff can come back with a rebuttal. Since the staff was allowed a rebuttal, I asked that the public be allowed a rebuttal as well.
One thing I will just say for, as a matter of course, this is a quasi-judicial proceeding. As such, there's no, sorry, there's no point of order because it's a quasi-judicial proceeding. So you can ask the commission to consider a procedural request, and that's okay. And I think that here, for example, the chair gave the public when needed, requested, or even in some instances, I think you just gave everybody an additional 3 minutes. And I would ask the planner, did they take any more than 3 minutes for their comments? So, because I believe the chair was keeping those to 3 minutes. Is that correct?
That
Okay,
is
so-
correct.
But I think the way to do that is if someone wants to make a motion, we're gonna try to keep this in a quasi-judicial proceeding because you weren't here making public comment, you were here making public testimony, and that's important because if you don't like the decision of the condition of the commission, you have a right to appeal it. And so that's why we are going to stay and follow our quasi-judicial proceedings, would be my advice.
Thank you.
We have a right to appeal after this.
You have all testified, so that gives you the right. Thank you all for your testimony this evening. The commission will review and may approve with conditions, or deny an application for a conditional use permit. The application shall not be approved unless it is established that the proposal with conditions, if necessary, satisfies the applicable review criteria. Could the planning clerk please read the conditional use permit criteria provided in Wasilla Municipal Code 16.95.020? The commission must determine if the applicant has submitted sufficient evidence to show that each of these criteria has been met.
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. Criteria A, the applicable code authorizes each proposed use and structure by conditional use permit in that zoning district. Criteria B, the proposed use or uses and structure or structures are compatible with the purpose of the zoning district in which the lot is located. Criteria C, the value of the adjoining property will not be negatively affected greater than the anticipated from other permitted or conditionally permitted uses in this district. Criteria D, the proposal is compatible with existing uses of surrounding land. Criteria E, public services and facilities are or will, prior to occupancy, be adequate to serve the proposed use and structure. Criteria F, considering harmony in scale, bulk, coverage, and density, generation of traffic, the nature and intensity of the proposed use, and other relevant effects, the proposal will not cause undue harmful effect upon desirable neighborhood character. Criteria G, the proposal will not be unduly detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the surrounding area or the city as a whole. Criteria H, the proposal does or will comply with the applicable regulations and conditions specified in Title 16 for such use. And criteria H, or criteria F, the proposal is not contrary to the applicable land use goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any comments regarding these criteria? Please remember, Robert's Rules of Order does not govern our deliberations today, but I will call on each of you to ensure that each of you have had an opportunity to share your findings. Commissioner Stafford.
Before we get into this, Mr. Chair, can we get a 5-minute recess?
Perfect. We're taking a 10-minute recess.
Chair, before you do that, one thing to note, given the level, you can also choose to deliberate in private and come back out. That is appropriate in a quasi-judicial.
Yeah, we're going to take a recess first for 10 minutes.
Talk to them first.
6.5.
Woman jumping up and insulting your cares. Insulting what she was doing. They're talking about where it's being placed at.
We're back in on the record. Do I have a motion from any commissioner to go into executive session?
Commissioner Brown, I move, Commissioner, move into executive session.
Commissioner DeYoung, second.
Chair, I would just
Sorry, I
like you to
didn't-
amend your motion to go into executive session for purposes of deliberating on CUP 26-02.
I would like to, go ahead, you meant
Commissioner Brown, I move that we go into executive session to have a discussion on CU 2604. 02.
DeYoung, second.
Any objection?
Discussion or?
Yeah, we're going into discussion.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion passes. We should be out in 10 minutes.
Come bang on the door. No.
I want to thank everyone for their patience. This is a very important matter for not only the city, the commission, but the public as well. So thank you very much. We're back on the record. 8:46 p.m. Thank you. Do the commissioners have any comments regarding these criteria? Please remember, Robert's Rules of Order does not govern our deliberations today, but I will call on each of you to ensure that you have had an opportunity to share your findings. Commissioner Stafford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to start by saying I appreciate everyone's input. I am looking in our packet, page 8 of 331. So it's the summary or the staff recommendation under the findings. So section 5, subsection B, the last sentence in that paragraph says the conditional use process allows the planning commission to evaluate each proposal on a case-by-case basis to determine whether residential use can appropriately coexist with the surrounding commercial and mixed-use development. And so I will be basing my decision tonight upon that sentence.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I could ask the Public Works a question. You alluded to it in your comments in writing, I think, but could you just clarify the city is prepared to make sure the water and sewer issues are resolved that will support this large complex?
No, absolutely. Every day we try to increase our water and sewer capacities. Currently our sewer, that's why we asked this development to go into a phased approach to partner with the city so that they start in 26, 27, and 28. As we continue to increase our sewer capacity at the wastewater treatment plant, we have 2 large projects going on currently. A digester project that'll be taking 2 years to complete, and then a discharge permit to allow us to go from 400,000 gallons a day to 500,000 gallons a day. So in doing that, that phased approach allows us to slowly bring on these housing units in timelines of constructability with the wastewater treatment infrastructure projects. Water, we're doing pretty good in this zone, in this area with all of our water storage, as we have Susitna Home Depot tank, water tank, many people call it, right up there. So pressures are fine and water capacity is absolutely fine.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Commissioner Langell.
First, I'll agree 100% with the comments from Commissioner Stafford. My largest concern is this is not compatible with the current location and the current use of the properties around this location. Housing, yes, it's needed, but not in this location. So I just don't feel it's compatible.
Commissioner DeYoung.
I'm gonna base my decision on F, on whether the proposal will cause undue harmful effect upon desirable neighborhood character. We desperately need this housing, but again, not in this location.
Commissioner Seals, my comments are actually F, and that is considering harmony and scale, bulk coverage, density, generation of traffic, the nature of and intensity of the proposed use, and other relevant effects. That statement weighs heavy on me tonight. As we have discussed in the past, we have changed our quasi-judicial hearing procedures to ensure that the commission's final decision reflects its consideration of the evidence and argument submitted at the hearing. To this end, the commission has the following options. Number 1, a commissioner may make a motion adopting the findings and conditions recommended in the staff report, approving the conditional use subject to the conditions in that report, and directing the planner to draft a written decision reflecting the commission's findings for the commission's final approval at the June 23rd, 2026 meeting. Number 2, make a motion denying approval of the conditional use permit based on the findings as expressed on the record by the commission and directing the planner to draft a written decision reflecting the commission's findings as expressed in this hearing for the commission's approval at the June 23rd, 2026 commission meeting. Number 3, make a motion approving the conditional use permit and adopting the findings and conditions recommended in the staff report as amended by the commission's findings as expressed on the record, and directing the planner to draft a written decision reflecting the commission's findings for the commission's approval at the June 23rd, 2026 commission meeting. At this point, can I get a motion?
Commissioner Brown, I moved that we accept the finding of the planning office and the recommendation they made to approve CU 2602.
Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. Are there any additional comments or findings on this motion? Any further discussion by commission members? Commission members, please remember that any comments or findings regarding this conditional use permit should be made during these deliberations, not during public comment at the end of our meeting. With that said, to any
Chair.
commission,
Sorry, I'm not to interrupt, but I think you still need a motion. I think what you're reading now is in reference, if once a motion has been made and the motion has been, at this point, you've had a motion that died
that
for
died
lack of a
from a
second.
second. Do I?
But the commission does need to take action in order to make a motion to make specific findings and then direct that the planner prepare those in a written decision. So I guess that would be, you might want to see if there's an alternate motion that the
Thank
commission
you.
would like to make.
This is new turf, so.
So, Mr. Chair, and help me with the language if I do not state this rightly, I would like to make the motion that we deny CU 26-2.
Commissioner Langill, second.
Does that language work, Madam Attorney? I know we have to be very specific.
I'm gonna give you that language, because I
Okay.
think it's good for us to have the.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
Okay, thank you for helping with the language. I will make a motion to deny the approval of the conditional use permit based on the findings as expressed on the record by the commission and direct the planner to draft a written decision reflecting the commission's finding as expressed in this hearing for the commission's approval at the June 23rd, 2026 commissioner meeting.
Commissioner Langill, second.
Now we can go. Are there any additional comments or findings on this motion? Any further discussion by commission members? Commission members, please remember that any, don't worry about it, I can't see anyway. Comments or findings regarding this conditional use permit should be made during these deliberations, not during public comment at the end of our meeting. With that said, do any commissioner members have any additional comments, findings, or thoughts on CU 2602?
Comments. First, I want to thank the residents of the city of Wasilla for their continued engagement in decisions that will shape the future of our community. Your participation is not only
We need to
valuable.
address to the motion, sorry.
Pardon?
We need to address the motion that's on the table. This,
I thought I was. I'll stop.
thank you. Now, will the planning clerk please call for a roll call vote on the motion?
No.
Thank you, Commissioner Seals, Commissioner Stafford,
So on the motion to deny, I vote yes.
Commissioner Brown,
No.
Commissioner DeYoung,
Yes.
Commissioner Langell,
Yes.
Commissioner Seals.
No. On the motion?
Well, with 3 votes yes and 2 votes no, the motion to deny the approval of the conditional use permit based off of the findings as expressed on the record by the commission and to direct the planner to draft a written decision reflecting the commission's findings as expressed in this hearing for the commission's approval at the June 23rd, 2026 commission meeting is approved.
Thank you. The quasi-judicial hearing is now closed. While the commission will review the written decision at its next meeting to make sure that that decision reflects the commission's findings, the commission will not be taking new evidence or reconsidering its decision made by motion today. A written decision will be distributed to the parties reflecting the findings and decisions of the commission. The date the final written decision is executed by the commission chair is effective the date of that decision. Any interested party adversely affected by the final written decision may appeal the decision within 15 days from its effective date. Thank you. We are now at unfinished business. With no unfinished business, we move into communications. We are now at communications. Would the planning clerk please read the items for approval under the communications into the record?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. We have under 10.1 permits and licenses issued May 20th through June 2nd, 2026. Enforcement log, code compliance activity, May 20th through June 2nd, 2026. And 10.3, the Mat-Su Borough Planning Commission agenda for June 2026.
Thank you. We now move on to audience comments.
Audience comments.
We are now at audience comments, a time for members of the public to share their views with the commission. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken into advisement by the commission or administration. Is there anyone present who would like to address the commission? Welcome.
Yeah, I don't even know what he's saying.
Welcome. Please write your name and contact information on the sign-up sheet. When you're finished, state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes, period.
Thank you. Thank you, Planning Commission. I appreciate it. Thank you for your proposal. At the same time, my original statement stands. I would like to see the developer and the NGO continue to work with the city on a project. I would like to see that project be married into the existing projects that we've got in the city and have it be to the mutual benefit of the city, the administration of the city, and to the developer and the NGO. So I would expect to see the NGO and the developer continue to work with the city and possibly even make your presentation to the city council so that we can get some better understanding as to the direction that we would wish to go. So I look forward to hearing you at a future date. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Welcome. Please write your name.
Yeah, my name is
Again.
Jeremy Collier, and I just wanted to make the council aware of something that I'm not sure if they are aware of for the commission. I was recently at an economic summit where the University of Alaska Anchorage was indicating that they have a number of properties that they're actually looking to give away for low-income housing development, kind of in the greater area of Wasilla, but not necessarily within the city limits. So it's just a good piece of information. Public comment. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Good evening again. My name is Stu Graham, and I'm already signed in here. I am a resident of the city, and like I said, a member of the city council, elected member of the city council, but I'm not speaking on behalf of the council. I am here to express my gratitude for y'all taking the time, to work through this. I mean, there's lots of fish in the pond on this particular project here, and there's a lot of things like Mr. Seal said, it's kind of his first time having to deal with something like this. I thought you guys did a nice job with it. But I think, the overriding document, needs to be our plan. And the comprehensive plan stands and has that commercial development right there in the city center. There are, residential developments in there, but those residential developments are more than 40 years old. I mean, much like, the new lawyer's office going on down here in the corner, that was a residence, and now it's being converted, to a higher and better use. Not that lawyers are higher and better use, but it is, but it is a commercial use, in a commercial use district. So the city is adapting to what makes the city more healthy, and they're doing that because of what you are doing here. In the time that you spend here in these deliberations. So thank you for taking the time tonight. I definitely appreciate all of your effort.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? With no one wishing to speak, we now move on to staff, attorney, and commission comments. Does the acting city planner have any comments this evening?
No, I do not, Chair. Thank you.
Does the city attorney have any comments this evening?
I have one quick comment. Commissioner Lanchell was going to make comments earlier. The intention is when we go through another CUP and as we sort of learn our new code in the hearing, is to allow those comments. The goal is to ensure that all the comments regarding the quasi-judicial matter stay within sort of that hearing bubble. So that we don't use the comments at the end of the meeting. And I would understand if the commission does use the comments at the end of the meeting now for this particular one. But in the future, we want to get to a place where that quasi-judicial hearing feels insulated so that if there is an appeal, that appeals record is very clear and we're not searching for public comments or commissioner comments outside of the finding and deliberation process. So
thank you for that clarification, and I apologize to Commissioner Langell. I thought she was referring to the end of the meeting comments, not on the motion at hand on the table. So that's where the confusion in that matter happened. Does Commissioner Brown have any comments tonight?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank all the citizens who came out and testified. This is how government's supposed to work, where citizens get involved, give their opinions, and then the staff do their work and provide the commission with what they need. So I appreciate the staff and the joint venture that y'all entered into to come up with the decisions that you made and stuff. And so this is the way government's supposed to work, and hopefully we can continue to work this way, where everybody take their specific part and play in the ball field so we can come up with decisions, and hopefully this will make Wasilla a better place to live than it is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Langell, I'll give you an extra 3 minutes.
I'll be shorter than that, I promise. I do again want to thank all of the residents that came tonight, and not only tonight to give your public testimony, but the written comments that were received. I was so impressed. We have a lot of involved and intelligent people in this city, and I hope you stay involved. We need you. To the applicant, it was a great proposal, much better than the first one, but I was very impressed, even with the 300-page report. My only problem with your report is that it's a wide area. It's not for the city of Wasilla. My recommendation would be, if you're going to do proposal for the city, your study should be within the city. But thank you, everybody.
Commissioner Dion, do you have any comments?
I do. First of all, in the proposal, that's how they roll. They have to do a wider area and prove where they're getting the tenants and all the things. So that's why that was like that. But I feel really bad. This was a hard decision for me. We need the, we need that. We need your development horribly. And there's better spots. And I hate it that I didn't even think about the HUD aspect of it. I hope they will. I really hope that some of the brokers out here and stuff that said they would help will. And I don't know if we can appeal to HUD for you, with you, but I really hope the funding will move and you'll be able to do this within the city somewhere else. It was a really hard decision for me. I've been agonizing over this for weeks. And I'm just like, so, I hope that funding will transfer. I really do. Wasn't easy. Thank you, everybody, because I mean, obviously we agree with you, but it wasn't easy. And it's not something that you can just brush off and go, yay, we won, because you didn't.
Finally, my comments, Chair Seals. Oh, do I have to include him again?
It's okay.
Okay, Commissioner Stafford.
I'll be brief. I want to thank the residents for coming and sharing your thoughts. This is how as it's been said, this is how local government works. And so please don't let this be a one-time thing. Stay tied into local issues and let your voice be heard. To the applicants, I appreciate what you're trying to do. Housing is needed. To the rest of my commissioners, thank you for the great discussion and everyone's input, and especially to the city staff. I know Public Works has gone home. Thank you, and especially Madam Attorney, thank you for keeping us straight, because we wander and we lose our way. So thank you for that. That is all, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I was gonna give you 3 minutes too. Extra.
I yield the extra time.
Don't.
My comments tonight are partially public notification. The Planning Commission in the past has had different options presented to us for notification of the public. I'm pretty sure that the commission's feelings were with any subject property within 1,200 feet was what the commission felt was reasonable. So if people didn't hear about this, it's because we haven't fixed that part yet. We have no newspaper. The Frontiersman is no longer in business. It's actually been taken over by the Matsu Sentinel, so you will have a paper to read. It just won't be printed for you. I've been through many of these quasi-judicial hearings as a regular commissioner and now as chair. We have tuned our system up to, thanks to our great attorneys, we have tuned our system up so that we have a more judicial feeling to the room. So I appreciate everybody being here tonight. We do understand your concerns. We are bound in a quasi-judicial hearing by facts, findings, and not so much emotion. So just want to thank everybody and the staff tonight. This was a great exercise in government, has been mentioned by other people. Please stay involved, and thank you very much. With no further business at hand, I'm adjourning this meeting unless an objection is raised. The meeting is adjourned at 9:02.